great performance by our guys. They were really focused and had great energy. I could sense it all week that they were excited about the opportunity to play South Dakota State again. Really good football team in South Dakota State. A lot of respect for Coach Stig. Does a tremendous job, but I knew our guys were really focused on the task at hand, and we played the way we had to play, owning the time of possession and limiting their plays and keeping a really good offense down to under 40 plays was kind of the formula for our success. And hats off to our coaches for doing such a great job, and hats off to the crowd. I mean, they were a huge factor today. They had a lot of miscommunication, and I knew they were trying to communicate between wide receivers and stuff, and they couldn't because our crowd was so loud. It really was a huge factor, and so obviously us getting home field advantage was critical in this game. So and sometimes adversity brings your football team together, and it did at halftime. Obviously, that was not a good situation for us at the end of the second quarter, but rather than anybody having any, oh no or anything, it was, we have this. We're owning the football game right now. We dominated the second quarter, a blip in the radar, let's go. And I felt really good coming out of halftime, even though we had the blunder at the end of the second quarter, that we were going to be a hard football team to beat. And that was as dominant of a second half performance as I've seen here. Questions?
Can you describe what happened at the end of the second quarter, what happened there?
Yeah, I think Easton just kind of mismanaged the clock, and we were out of timeouts because we had some other malfunctions, and so he just mismanaged it. And I felt bad for the kid. He knows better. He knows that he made a mistake, but we were down 10-0. All of a sudden we're up 14-10. What are you going to do? Chastise? I mean, the kid made a mistake, and that's okay. They're all human, and he learned a great lesson. But I know he played with great focus in the second half and led us to the victory.
So, second half, there's a lull in the season where the second half the offense wasn't really finishing games. Why? They didn't seem to finish this play.
I just think, Eric, we just continue to get better as the season goes along. And our offensive line is extremely talented, and we knock people off the football. I think Easton's throwing the ball well. We have backs that are running extremely well, and we improve as the season goes along. I don't know if it's how we practice. I don't know how we take care of the guys, whatever you want to say, but year in and year out, this football team continues to get better, and that's the thing that I'm most excited about as a coach is we do continue to improve, and we do we don't really plateau in the season. We continue to gain momentum.
Those are like watching us kind of treat it third and long like it was third and short. Some incredible conversions. What do you have to say about that?
Well, a couple things. One, Easton threw a couple of dig routes, which we knew were in the middle of the field, were open on third and extra long, and he just threw lasers in there. And the other thing is, I thought we did a really good job. We talked about as a staff of keeping them off balance on third and medium and running the football and running some of the jets and stuff. And Dimitri Williams is turning into a really good football player now. Not only the way he carries the ball, catches the ball, but the way he blocks. I mean, the touchdown that Shep got, Dimitri annihilates a corner, we get the edge, and it's a touchdown. And really pleased with what we're doing on third down.
20-play drive, Chris, what was that like to watch?
Where it helps us is keeping that offense that they have on the sideline. They have really good weapons, and to have those guys on the sideline, and I knew we were wearing them down a little bit. Everybody's beat up this time of the year, and when we're holding that thing for 20 plays, it gives our defense a chance to make some adjustments, which we needed to do, and that gave our offense a ton of momentum.
Shepard tell you he was good for one half again, like Northern Iowa last year?
We had planned on that on Thursday, that we were going to give him a half simply because we didn't think he could last a whole game. And lo and behold, I selected the second half and got him warmed up in the second half or at halftime, and he made some big plays, and hopefully he'll be healthy enough to give us a full game.
Grant Morgan's safety, how important was that 14-10? They created the turnover near the goal line. How big a play do you think that was?
It was a huge play by Grant, good call by Coach Ince. I think it made the crowd even more electric at that time, because then it got to 16-10, and then it was deafening. And we were able to get up the two scores. Us getting the field goal on the next one to get up 19-10, I think was really big, and obviously then we were able to just pound the football the rest of the day.
Defensively for you guys, they went through you pretty good their first couple drives, and then after that, I know they weren't on the field much, but when they were, you stopped them.
Yeah, the first couple drives, I thought they did a really good job of their script plays, of kind of getting us off balance, getting us into some formations that we hadn't seen, and I knew we would settle down. And then when we were down 10-0, there wasn't any panic in anybody's eyes, and then we had the one touchdown called back, and then we ended up able to get the touchdown. We didn't really change a whole lot. I mean, it's not like we changed the structure of our defense or anything. We just talked about being more assignment sound and tackling well, and we still had to put pressure on the quarterback, which we did really well today.
How big of a difference did that make, getting some pressure on Christian, because the first time around you did?
We were not going to let him sit back there. I promise you that. The entire day, we were not going to let him sit back there. We were going to bring heat. If they got an explosive play on us, so be it, but we were not going to let him sit back there and pat the football. And did a really good job with some stunts as well as some blitzes and some run blitzes, moving Caleb Butler inside more to a 3 technique rather than playing him outside, I think was a difference in the second half. And our guys have been in, I told the guys this, been the head coach for I don't know how many games now. There's 3 games that we've played that before the game started I didn't think we'd lose. When we played Western Illinois, after we lost to South Dakota, and came back in here when people were like, boy, you lost South Dakota, you don't have Carson Wentz, and we rolled Western Illinois. Montana the second time, I felt really good about that. And all week I felt really good about this team. I don't care what guys were out. There's a resolve of those kids. And I had a calmness, and even Nate Tango asked me at halftime, are you okay, Coach? Yep, I'm good. I had a real calmness because those kids were not losing this football game. It wasn't the coaches. Coaches did a nice job. Those players won this football game.
How valuable is it to have sort of running back by committee where you can bring out fresh legs every time and roll with who's ever hot?
It's really good when they're unselfish, and they all are. I mean, everybody wants to carry the thing 25 times. That's what running backs want to do, but we're 15, 13, 16 with King, Lance, Easton. We throw Chase and Bruce in there a little bit, but they're playing a lot of football because of different formations we have. And shoot, it keeps them fresh, and they're all unselfish guys. They just want to win.
What was wrong with Shorter? It looked like he was on a lot of
Elbow, and I don't know what it was, but he just toughed it out. There's a South Dakota kid that said, I'm playing this football game. And he just toughed it out. And we lost some more bodies again today, but you know what? As C.J. Smith told us in the middle of the season, so what, now what? Hey, next guy up, let's go.
The offensive line kept, personally last game, the rushing game, the first time you played SDSU, you rushed for over 200, and now this time it was over 300. Do you think?
There was plenty of motivation.
Who else got hurt?
Jalen Wimbush, and I don't know what that injury is, but he was hurt.
Coach, I gotta ask you, I've just never seen anything quite like it. And I asked Stig about it. He told us a little bit of the conversation that went on between you and him on the field. Why was it important to talk to him there? What was said?
I just have good Stig and I are friends. I mean, and when guys get hurt, I mean, we're in the middle of the field and stuff. I mean, Stig and I are friends. I have no problem. It's not like we're competing. Our tails off. He's competing. I'm competing. But you know what? I've got great respect for him, and I think he has respect for me.
You're energetic and enthusiastic all the time on the sideline. Second half in particular, 4th down stop, you're fired up out on the field. Fair to say that you were more fired up than you've been in a while?
Was really motivated to win this football game.
What was the most important team stat, would you say? The time of possession, +1 turnover margin, the 3rd down conversion?
I would say time of possession, simply because how good their offense is. You have to keep that offense on the sideline, and that's, everybody knows, the best defense against South Dakota State is having those 3 really, really good, talented kids on the sideline. And so we were able to convert a number of 3rd down conversions, and like even that last drive, just run the ball, get some first downs. That's the best way to beat these guys. If you have a 30-30 game in time of possession, it's going to be tough. They're going to be tough to beat.
Another game here in Fargo. This is the most you can play for a shot to go back to Frisco. Your thoughts on that?
I'm really excited that we get an opportunity to play here again. I know our guys are really excited. We've been really fortunate that we've been able to host these games. In the same respect, we've earned the right to host all these games, but we're going into finals week. One less thing the guys have to worry about is a travel on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or whenever we would play. I told the guys, they earn the right to play this game here tonight. They earn the right to play next week's game here today by what they did on a whole body of work.
You pointed out a couple times you were really motivated to win this game. Was it something specific that happened that motivated you?
No, just really excited to play today, and the guys were too.
How about Easton Sticks today? His running yards, his passing, like you said, those passes he was able to hit.
Yeah, I honestly felt bad for Easton on the end of the second quarter because we shouldn't have put him in the position, but we had to use a couple of timeouts because we had some malfunction, and it is what it is. But I know this: the kid's never going to get rattled. Our guys believe in him unbelievably, and at halftime, everybody was like, "Easton, everything's good, and he's like, "Guys, I'm okay. I know I messed up. I'm okay." And I knew he'd have a really good second half. And I don't even know what his numbers were, but he's throwing the ball well, and he got us into some run checks today that people don't know about. That they're bringing pressure from one side, he checks it and gets us to a run the other way, and we get 9, get 10. Those are the things that you don't see in the scorebook that makes the kid the special player as he is.